and welcome to Asset TV. Here to discuss creative ways to engage clients and keep them informed during extreme market volatility is Mitch Slater. He's Senior Vice President and Financial Advisor at the Slater Trainer Group at UBS Financial Services. Thanks so much for being with us, Mitch.
My pleasure, Jenna. Thank you very much for asking me.
Yeah, so Mitch, what are you doing right now to keep in touch with your clients? I know you recently shared a personal video message.
Yes, this is a very unique time, certainly in everybody's lives. For those of us that have been in the industry, I've been an advisor for 32 years. My first day on the job as a financial advisor was the stock market crash in 1987, which was not a great way to start. But 32 years later, experiencing something like I've never seen, and certainly any of our clients have never seen. But just like, I guess, 9/11, really, the end of the day, this is all about humanity, and it's all about the touch and the human touch that you have with your clients. So we felt it was very important, as well as we have spoken to every client multiple times, emails, all forms of communication. But I felt it was very important for us to put a video out there of myself, my partner, and my client service assistant, so they can see where we are in our homes. My CSA, Crystal, is homeschooling 3 kids all of a sudden. My partner, Ann, has 2 teenage kids, which isn't so easy. I've got a family, like a WeWork going on downstairs with my wife who works at Time, my daughter at People, and my son who's at UBS. So all of us wanted to at least express to everybody how we're here, we understand, we want to talk to you, we're there for you, we're just in a different location, and we really look forward to the day that we're back in front of you, because that's what this business is built on. This business is built on relationships. Everyone talks about the return on investments. I talk about the return on relationships.
And building off of that, Mitch, would you say that it's impossible to over-communicate right now? And how can advisors be proactive in their approach rather than reactive with all this market uncertainty?
Well, this doesn't just start on day one. I think for any of us that have been in practices, whether you've been in 30 years, 20 years, 5 years, or even 1 year, this should be something that you do during the good times as well as the bad times. So for those advisors that have been doing this throughout their career, it may not be exactly business as usual, but that's something that your client relationship is used to, because there's a purpose there. There's a value that people put there. But to answer your question, I think you also have to respect everybody in the way that they work differently. Every single client is different. Every single relationship is different. In many ways, over the years, I've said that I wish I spent more time studying psychology and human behavior than I did business, because really it's understanding who the people are. And there are some people that do need that extra touch, but there are some people that are they're fine. They know that you're there. You've had a few conversations with them. They've withered storms before, and they will deal with this. So I think it's really, more than anything, is knowing your client, which is the most important thing as a financial advisor. I believe our responsibility is.
And how do you keep clients focused on the long term, given all the short-term volatility and uncertainty?
Well, at UBS, we have something called Wealthway, or the 3 L's. And I think this is really what it comes down to. It comes down to liquidity, longevity, and legacy. And there's a focus on each one of those, and understanding the needs of your client and keeping that focus from the beginning of the relationship, which of course starts with a financial plan. And by having plans done on all of our clients, we have this guidebook. We have this point A to point B that we know where people need to go. And obviously you can throw a million Monte Carlo simulations in, but maybe COVID-19 was not one of them. And I know for many people, 9/11 was not one of them. And the 2008 financial crisis was not one of them. But you have
the very far end of the left tail there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as black as a swan could be, right? And you have to be prepared for that. And the only way that you can be prepared is by really using the Wayne Gretzky method and it's said all the time, but it's just so true. It's not, where the puck is, it's where the puck is going. And we have to be following that. And we are constantly having that conversation with our clients way before this situation. We were talking with clients late last year, of course, not knowing what was on the horizon. But when you have a market that was so strong, and I mean all the markets pretty much were so strong, you have to have the conversation with the people that are so important in your life to at least let them know this is a little bit unusual, that we don't usually have a 30% return in the S&P. And maybe this is a time that you want to think about making some changes, because diversification, and that's the other word, we have 3 L's and a D, I guess. Diversification is so critical, and making sure that clients are diversified in different asset classes. I don't think anything proves my point more than this. And I know there's a constant debate year in, year out, passive investing, active investing. And I'm not saying there's a right or there's a wrong, but there's understanding what the risks are for each. And if you're a passive investor, you get the passive return of the index. But if you're active and you're diversified and you've got alternatives and fixed income and cash, and boy, a lot of people are happy to have cash now, that's really the important conversation to have.
Yeah, and keeping those 3 L's and a D in mind, Mitch, what kind of investment opportunities and risks do you see on the horizon right now moving forward?
Well, listen, this is, as I said, certainly unusual, and I've never considered myself a market strategist. I'm not a portfolio manager. I'm really manage people's expectations more than manage their money. And ultimately, when it comes to that, I rely on the professionals that I listen to. Obviously, there are a lot of opportunities in the market. Do we know if we have hit a bottom? No, we don't know. I mean, to me, the answer to everything is in a vaccine, not really in an investment. Ultimately, we're all sitting here at home. We're all social distancing. We're all doing what we should be doing, and hopefully more of the country will continue to do that, so we can get to a point where, just like we beat polio and we beat measles and we were able to solve, in many ways, the Ebola and the AIDS crisis with a vaccine out there, that will give people the ability to at least get out of their home and hopefully kickstart the economy. When that's going to happen, it's impossible to tell. I think that's a reality that we talk with everybody about. We talk about all the different scenarios. The scenarios, certainly the fixed income market has been, it's been very difficult. The yield spreads are all over the place, which is highly unusual. There have been days that have made no sense for municipal bond managers, for managers of mortgage-backed securities, as well as equity managers. So to really answer your question, everyone has their own situation and their risk tolerance. And if they were 100% equity and they knew they needed that money in a month, then we weren't doing our job. And our job was to avoid that. And I mean, my personal feeling, which is really, comes from listening to a lot of smart people who focus on this day and night, is that we will get through this. This will not be an overnight get. Whether we're going to have the V or the U, I just honestly don't know. But I know if we're focusing on liquidity and legacy and everything else that matters to people, and truly have a purpose of what they want to do with their money. And listen, everybody's biggest fear in life is running out of money. At the end of the day, you can cut through it all. When you sit down with clients, ultimately, that's what matters. And it doesn't matter how much money they have. It could be the wealthiest high net worth client that I have. Even in the good times, are still worried about running out of money because maybe they grew up in the Depression era. And those that are going to grow up in the next couple of years are certainly, hopefully, not experiencing a depression, but certainly experiencing something that is absolutely unprecedented for most of us in our lifetimes.
Well, Mitch, thank you so much for your time and your insights. Really great to have you.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Jen. I appreciate it.
And thank you for watching. That was Mitch Slater, Senior Vice President and Financial Advisor at the Slater Trainer Group at UBS Financial Services. And I'm Jenna Dagenhart with Asset TV.